Good morning, Jeff Light here with our daily look behind the news from the UT Newsroom. This morning we're talking with startup reporter Brittany Mailing. Brittany, you had an interesting story today about a local startup that is trying to, I'm going to speak in lingo, monetize a social referral to
Right.
products. So this is a very interesting story to me. So first let's start by, what's the product? What happens?
Okay, so they've actually built this technology to work in a few different ways. So the easiest way to explain it is if you're on Facebook and someone has asked you, what's the best hotel to stay at in San Diego? And you want to respond and say the Marriott at Del Mar. You can paste in a link to Expedia, and this software, if you've downloaded the app onto your computer or on your phone, it will automatically convert that URL to a trackable link. So if someone clicks on that link and they eventually purchase a 7-night stay at the hotel, you get a cut of the sale.
Okay, so there's this attribution. Back to me, I made a little recommendation. Now, a question I sort of have is, this whole idea of post-click attribution is a huge issue in digital advertising.
Right.
So, yeah, I referred them, and then they bought. But Marriott also bought Facebook advertising elsewhere. They bought retargeted advertising on the internet. They bought OTT advertising. And now everybody's coming to them saying, like, no, that's our conversion. So how are they handling that? Or does it have to be like a direct click through from the person you referred on your link and they buy right then?
That's a good question, and it's actually not something that we talked about. How far down the line does that purchase have to be for you to get a portion of the sale? And so that's something that we can follow up with them on.
Okay, so those are just details. But tell me a little bit more about their vision, because this in advertising, the concept that word of mouth is the best advertising.
That's right.
Because it's the most authentic and the least expensive.
That's right.
Now the genius of this is, we're going to move that spend and distribute it to the grassroots. So
Right.
talk to me about their vision a little bit.
So that's something that we've all heard of influencers, people on social media who have these really large audiences. But there's kind of a new trend of, I think they call it micro-influence. And it's the idea that even though you may not have thousands or millions of followers, you still have a pretty big impact on your network. So their idea is that brands and retailers will actually prefer this to social media influencers because it might have a bigger impact, a higher conversion rate. If you've got a trusted friend or family member who's recommending a product to you, rather than maybe someone on YouTube who you happen to follow and is just maybe marketing something that you're not interested in.
Yeah, and so from that perspective, it might be better for everybody, right? Because the brands are here beholden to everybody. And as opposed to manipulative advertising through devious targeting, they just need to make everybody happy, and then everybody will refer them, right? So it seems like a virtuous system.
It is, and it's something that we already do. So people have this. There's an option on Facebook to ask for recommendations, and all the time we already tell people what we think about products or services. And so this is kind of a way to cash in on conversations you're already having. But there is also a little bit of, some of the people I talked to said they weren't sure how they felt about all their friends and family becoming affiliate marketers.
Right, so argue that side for me. What is the downside here?
So the downside, the thought is, is your recommendation going to mean less to me if I know that you're going to get a payout because you're recommending the Marriott in Del Mar? So that's something that a few people I talked to for the stories expressed, that would bother them. But when I brought it up with the company, they said that they had run several focus groups involving hundreds of people, and their feedback was that it did not bother them because their friends and family, they don't mind that they're getting paid.
Yeah, to me it's interesting in that it's in its own way, it's a brilliant insight. It sounds like the technology could work. It could change the world. Although I think I also appreciate the argument that it's a repugnant development in which we're all going to be working for money in everything we do. That's an interesting world. Although, I guess, well, whatever. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
You don't have to answer that. So tell me just a little bit in closing. It's a super interesting company, which was part of the story as well. Who
Right.
are these people?
Oh, so that is a big part of the story. Is the guy who founded it, the CEO. He was the CEO at a company called Eventful in San Diego, which was pretty well known when it started out. It was the first online calendar of events all around the world. So when you had a music event, this was the first company that was tracking all of those and making it easy for you to buy tickets for a show. They eventually got acquired by CBS in 2014. And he went and worked for CBS for a while before he started on this new venture. So they actually got venture capital funding, and they're seed around $2 million from a VC company up in LA, and they're just kind of ready to take off.
Super interesting. So it will be fascinating to watch, obviously, people who know what they're doing. Thanks for the great story. If you've got insights or ideas, send them to Brittany offline. We'll be back tomorrow.